I found out my husband was cheating when his mistress showed up to my baby shower, 8 months pregnant with his child. My name is Claire, I'm 31 years old, and I work as a high school English teacher in suburban Denver. My husband Tyler and I had been together for 7 years, married for 4. We'd been trying for a baby for 2 of those years, countless negative pregnancy tests, one devastating miscarriage, months of feeling broken and inadequate. When I finally got pregnant this past January, it felt like a miracle. Tyler had cried when I showed him the positive test. We'd held each other in our bathroom, overwhelmed with joy and relief, feeling like our lives were finally falling into place. The pregnancy was smooth. Morning sickness that lasted exactly 6 weeks, cravings for pickles and ice cream like some cartoon version of a pregnant woman. Tyler came to every ultrasound appointment, held my hand during the anatomy scan, cried again when we found out we were having a girl. We painted the nursery together, soft lavender walls, white furniture, a mobile with little stars and moons. We argued lovingly about names. He wanted Sophia. I wanted Lily. We compromised on Sophia Lily. Life felt full. My students threw me an impromptu classroom celebration when I announced my pregnancy. Tyler's parents bought us a crib. My mom started knitting tiny sweaters. We took maternity photos at a park near our house, Tyler's hands on my belly, both of us laughing into the golden afternoon light. When I look at those photos now, I want to reach through them and warn myself. But there were signs. Of course there were signs. Tyler had always been attentive, almost obsessively so. He'd text me throughout the day, call during his lunch break, never make plans without checking with me first. But around March, when I was about 3 months pregnant, he became distant.
Not in an obvious way.
Just quieter. He'd come home from his job at the marketing firm and go straight to his laptop. He'd shower as soon as he got home, which he'd never done before. He started wearing cologne again, something he hadn't done since we were dating. I chalked it up to stress. His company had just landed a huge client, and he was working longer hours. When I'd express concern, he'd kiss my forehead and say everything was fine, that he was just tired, that work was demanding. He'd rub my feet while we watched TV, assemble baby furniture on weekends, go on late-night ice cream runs when I had cravings. He was still Tyler. Still my husband. Still the father of my unborn child. Except he'd stopped initiating sex. I'd been self-conscious about it, my changing body, the weight gain, the stretch marks appearing like fault lines across my stomach. When I'd reach for him at night, he'd say he didn't want to hurt the baby, that we should be careful. My doctor had said sex was perfectly safe, but Tyler was adamant. Let's just wait until after she's born, he'd say. I don't want to take any chances. I believed him, because I wanted to. Because doubting him felt like betraying us. His phone habits changed too. New passcode. Face always tilted away when he was texting. He'd take calls in another room, saying it was work, boring client stuff I wouldn't care about. Once, I'd walked into his office while he was on his laptop, and he'd closed it so quickly the motion looked violent. Just finishing up something for work, he'd said, but his voice had a pitch to it I didn't recognize. My best friend Rachel had noticed. Is everything okay with you guys? She'd asked during one of our coffee dates. I was 6 months pregnant, struggling to find comfortable positions in the cafe chair.
Yeah, why?
I don't know. Tyler seems off lately. Distracted. He's stressed about work, I'd said automatically. And probably nervous about becoming a dad. Rachel had given me a look I couldn't quite read. Probably, she'd agreed, but she didn't sound convinced. The baby shower was Rachel's idea. She'd insisted on throwing it, said I deserved to be celebrated, that after everything we'd been through to get pregnant, this was our moment. She'd rented out a beautiful event space, invited 40 people. My family, Tyler's family, friends from work, neighbors, college friends I hadn't seen in years. The theme was a little star is on the way, silver and white decorations, star-shaped cookies, a gorgeous 3-tier cake. I'd gotten dressed that morning in a flowing blue maternity dress, feeling beautiful for the first time in months. Tyler had kissed me goodbye. He wasn't coming until later, said baby showers were traditionally just for women anyway, that he'd show up for the cake. I'd laughed, Told him he couldn't avoid diaper duty that easily. I'll be there at 3, he'd promised. Wouldn't miss it. The shower started at 1. By 2, the place was packed. I was surrounded by love, opening presents, laughing at the ridiculous baby shower games Rachel had planned, eating tiny sandwiches and feeling overwhelmed by gratitude. My mom kept tearing up. Tyler's mom had brought the family cradle, the one Tyler had slept in as a baby. Everything felt perfect. At 2:30, a woman I didn't recognize walked in. She was beautiful, long dark hair, minimal makeup, wearing a simple black dress. And she was pregnant. Very pregnant. As pregnant as me, maybe more. I watched Rachel's face go white. She rushed toward the door, but the woman brushed past her, walking directly toward me. The room went quiet. 40 conversations died mid-sentence. Claire, the woman said. Her voice was shaking. We need to talk. My hand went instinctively to my belly, protective. I'm sorry, do I know you?
No.
But you know Tyler. She was crying now, tears streaming down her face. I'm Vanessa. I'm so sorry. I didn't know about you until 2 days ago. The room was spinning. I gripped the arm of my chair. What are you talking about? Tyler and I have been together for 8 months. I'm 8 months pregnant with his baby. The silence was deafening. Someone dropped a plate. The sound of it shattering felt appropriate, like the universe was providing a soundtrack to my life falling apart. That's not possible, I heard myself say. My voice sounded far away. Tyler's my husband. We're having a baby. This is my baby shower. I know, Vanessa sobbed. I know, and I'm so sorry. I found out about you on Wednesday. I found a wedding invitation in his car, your wedding invitation. I confronted him, and he admitted everything. Said he'd been living a double life. That he had a wife and, she gestured at my belly, that you were pregnant too. My mother made a sound like she'd been punched. Tyler's mother stood up, so fast her chair fell backward. Where is he? Tyler's dad's voice cut through the chaos. Where's my son? He's probably at her place, Rachel said quietly. She was holding her phone, looking at it like it had personally betrayed her. Claire, I just checked Find My Friends. Tyler's not at work. He's at an apartment complex in Littleton. Everything after that happened in fragments. Me trying to stand, my legs not working properly. Rachel catching me. The room erupting in chaos. Angry voices, crying, my mother-in-law screaming into her phone at Tyler. Vanessa, collapsing into a chair, her hands on her belly, sobbing that she was sorry, that she didn't know, that she thought he was divorced. I made it to the bathroom before I threw up. Rachel held my hair back while I vomited up tiny sandwiches and betrayal. My whole body was shaking. I couldn't catch my breath. The baby was kicking, hard, insistent, like she could feel my distress. Breathe, Rachel was saying. Claire, breathe. In and out. Focus on me. How long have you known? I asked. My voice didn't sound like mine. Known what? About Tyler. You knew something was wrong. I suspected, she admitted. But I didn't know. I swear I didn't know, Claire. If I'd known. What apartment? I cut her off. In Littleton. What's the address? You're not going there.
Not right now.
You need to. Rachel. I looked at her. Give me the address.
She did.
I walked out of that bathroom, through the silent party full of pitying faces, and got in my car. My hands were shaking so badly, I could barely grip the steering wheel. Rachel tried to stop me, but I pulled away, leaving her standing in the parking lot. The drive to Littleton took 20 minutes. I don't remember most of it. I remember gripping the steering wheel. I remember my phone ringing, Tyler, Mom, Rachel, Tyler again. I remember the feeling of my daughter moving inside me and thinking about how I was supposed to protect her from everything, but I couldn't even protect her from having a father who was a monster. The apartment complex was nice. Too nice. Ground floor unit with a little patio. There was a welcome mat. A welcome mat. Like this was a home and not the site of my life imploding. Tyler's car was in the parking lot. I sat in my car for 5 minutes, staring at that door. Part of me wanted to drive away, pretend I'd never seen Vanessa, live in the fantasy for just a little longer. But my hand was already on the door handle. My legs were already moving. I knocked. No answer. I knocked again, harder. Tyler, I know you're in there. Your car's outside. Silence. Then footsteps. The door opened. Tyler looked like he'd seen a ghost. Claire, where are you? How did you? Your girlfriend showed up to my baby shower, I said calmly. Too calmly. 8 months pregnant. With your baby. His face crumbled. Oh God. Vanessa. Claire, I can explain. Explain? My voice cracked. Explain how you've been living with another pregnant woman while coming home to me every night? Explain how you went to her ultrasounds and then came to mine? Explain how you're expecting 2 babies a month apart. It's not. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. How was it supposed to happen, Tyler? I was screaming now. Were you just going to juggle 2 families? 2 wives. 2 daughters. You're not listening. Is this her apartment? Have you been paying for this while I'm planning a nursery in what I thought was our home? He didn't answer. He didn't have to. I could see it in his face. The guilt, the shame, the confirmation of everything. How long? I demanded. Claire. How long? Last summer, he whispered. I met her at a work conference. It was supposed to be just one night, but then you fell in love. I laughed bitterly. Is that the excuse? You fell in love while your wife was mourning a miscarriage. He flinched. That's not fair. Fair. I stepped closer to him. You want to talk about fair? I'll tell you what's fair, Tyler. Fair is me taking everything. The house. The savings. The car. Fair is your daughter growing up knowing exactly what kind of man her father is. Fair is everyone, your family, your friends, your coworkers, knowing what you did. You're being dramatic. Am I? I pulled out my phone. Because I've got 40 witnesses to your girlfriend crashing my baby shower. I've got text records showing you lied about where you were. I've got whatever evidence is in this apartment. Should we go inside? Should I see how you've decorated her nursery? Don't, he said desperately. Please, Claire. Can we just talk about this rationally? Rationally. I felt something break inside me. I'm 8 months pregnant, Tyler. I just found out my husband has been cheating on me for a year, that he got someone else pregnant, that he's been maintaining an entire second life. There is nothing rational about this. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. This is Vanessa.
I'm so sorry.
I left the shower. I'm at Swedish Medical Center. I'm having contractions. The stress. I think the baby's coming early. I thought you should know. I showed Tyler the screen. Watched the color drain from his face. You need to go, I said quietly. Claire. Go to the hospital, Tyler. Go to your other baby mama. I'm done. I turned to walk away. He grabbed my arm. Wait, please. We can work through this. For Sophia. She needs her father. I looked down at his hand on my arm, then back up at his face. Take your hand off me. He let go. Sophia will have a father, I said. Just not you. Not in any way that matters. I drove to my mother's house. Made it inside before I collapsed. She held me while I sobbed, great heaving cries that hurt my ribs, my throat, my soul. My dad called a lawyer, his friend David, who specialized in divorce. My sister brought clothes, toiletries, everything I'd need. My brother changed my locks remotely. He was a locksmith and had installed our smart locks originally. At 11 p.m., Tyler texted. Vanessa had a boy. He's in NICU, but should be okay.
We need to talk.
Please. I blocked his number. The next morning, Rachel showed up with coffee and evidence. While I'd been at my mother's house falling apart, she'd been doing detective work. She'd gone through my home computer, the one Tyler and I shared, the one he clearly didn't think anyone would check. She'd found everything. Bank statements showing he'd been funneling money into a secret account. Venmo transactions to Vanessa going back 10 months. Receipts from restaurants I'd never been to, hotels in cities he'd claimed to visit for work, but had actually gone to with her. calendar invites for client meetings that were actually doctor's appointments with Vanessa. There were photos too.
Dozens of them.
Tyler and Vanessa at the beach. At concerts. At restaurants. Her wearing the necklace I'd thought he bought for me. Turned out he'd bought too. In several photos, I could see her pregnant belly. I could calculate the timeline. Could see that while I was celebrating my positive pregnancy test, he was already weeks into another woman's pregnancy. There's more, Rachel said gently. She showed me emails. Tyler had been planning to leave me. Had been looking at divorce lawyers. Had draft emails saved, different versions of the same Dear Claire letter. He'd been waiting until after the baby was born. Probably would have waited until after Vanessa's baby was born too. Would have tried to time it perfectly, minimize the damage to his reputation. He never loved me, I said numbly. That's not true. It is, though. You don't do this to someone you love. You don't plan their destruction this meticulously. Over the next week, the fallout was nuclear. Tyler's parents disowned him. His mother called me personally, sobbing, apologizing, saying she'd raised him better than this. His father showed up at my mother's house with a check for $20,000. For the baby, he'd said. For anything you need. They'd already contacted their own lawyer about grandparents' rights, wanted to make sure they could still see Sophia even if Tyler couldn't. Tyler's company found out. One of the attendees at my baby shower worked in HR at a partner company. The story spread through Denver's business community like wildfire. Tyler was asked to resign. The official reason was conduct unbecoming, but everyone knew. His LinkedIn was flooded with people disconnecting. His reputation was destroyed. Vanessa reached out again. We met at a neutral location, a park, both of us heavily pregnant, sitting on benches like some twisted mirror image of each other. I'm keeping him away from the baby, she told me. My son. I filed for full custody. My lawyer says with the evidence of his deception, I'll get it.
Good, I said.
I'm sorry, she said again. I know that doesn't fix anything, but I feel like I stole your life. You didn't steal anything, I told her. Tyler gave it away. That's on him, not you. We sat in silence for a while. Then she said, Do you think they'll want to meet each other? The babies? When they're older? I don't know, I admitted. That's not a decision we have to make today. Tyler tried everything. Showed up at my mother's house until my father threatened to call the police. Sent flowers, letters, gifts. Called from different numbers. Showed up at my school until the principal banned him from campus. Each attempt made me angrier, more certain that I'd made the right choice. The divorce was finalized before Sophia was born. David, my lawyer, was relentless. Tyler had to give up the house, most of our savings, and agree to supervise visitation only. He'd also have to pay child support for Sophia and for Vanessa's son. Between the two, he'd be paying nearly half his income, if he could find a job. Sophia Lily was born on a Tuesday in September. Labor was 22 hours. My mother and Rachel were with me. Tyler wasn't. He tried to get into the delivery room, but security removed him. My daughter came into the world surrounded by people who actually loved her, and that felt right.
She was perfect.
7 pounds, 6 ounces. A full head of dark hair. Tyler's eyes, which hurt more than I'd expected, but my nose, my chin. When they placed her on my chest, I cried. Not from sadness or anger or betrayal, just from overwhelming love. Hi, baby girl, I whispered. It's just you and me now, and that's going to be enough. It's been 6 months since Sophia was born. I'm sitting in the nursery. I painted with Tyler, but I've redecorated. Changed the color to a soft mint green. Removed every trace of him.
The room is mine now. Ours.
Me and Sophia. She's sleeping in her crib, tiny fists curled up by her face. She has no idea that her father is a man who destroyed 2 families. Someday I'll have to tell her. Someday she'll ask questions I don't want to answer. But not today. Tyler has supervised visitation every other weekend. He shows up with gifts, desperate to be dad of the year in 2-hour increments. Sophia tolerates him. She doesn't cry when he holds her, but she doesn't light up the way she does when she sees me or my mother. I think babies know. I think they can sense authenticity. I went back to teaching in January. My students made a welcome back banner. My classroom is covered in photos of Sophia. I'm tired all the time, juggling single motherhood and a full-time job, but I'm happy. Genuinely happy. Happier than I was when I thought I had everything. Vanessa, and I text occasionally. Our boys, Tyler's other son, named Henry, are both doing well. She's moved on, started dating someone new, someone who actually deserves her. She sends me photos sometimes, and I send her photos of Sophia. The kids don't know each other yet. Maybe someday. Last week, Tyler texted from a new number I hadn't blocked yet. I miss you. I made a mistake. Can we try again? For Sophia? I didn't respond immediately. I walked to the bathroom mirror and looked at myself, really looked. I saw a woman who survived, who rebuilt, who chose herself and her daughter over a man who'd proven himself unworthy. I texted back. The only mistake you made was thinking I'd be there when you finally realized what you lost. Move on, Tyler. I have. Then I blocked the number, picked up my daughter, and went to the park. Because here's what I learned in the wreckage of my marriage. Sometimes the life you're desperately trying to save isn't worth saving. Sometimes the ending you fear is actually the beginning you needed. And sometimes being betrayed by someone you love is the universe's brutal way of showing you that you were always strong enough to stand on your own. You just never had to prove it until they gave you no other choice.